So today's topic is about the light, the properties as well as the formation of image by lens and mirror. First thing, what is the nature of the light? Light is transverse and electromagnetic. What is the meaning of these two words when we say light is transverse and light is electromagnetic? The term transverse means the vibration oscillation is perpendicular to the direction in which the wave travel. So the vibration of is perpendicular to the direction in which the wave travel. That's why we called it as a transverse. And what is the meaning of electromagnetic? Electromagnetic is a term which is used for those rays, those waves which can travel through vacuum. So if there's a vacuum, if no medium is there, like example, a medium, the passage through which the wave is passing, that's called a medium. So if there's even if it's a vacuum, the light can travel. And how we can say that the light can travel through vacuum? So this is our sun. So this is a sun, and this blue is representing the earth. So what happened? We are able to see the light, we are able to receive the light which is coming out from the sun, and we receive on the earth. So between sun and earth, there's a space, or we call that as vacuum. So between sun and earth, there's a vacuum, and still vacuum is there, but we are able to receive the light from the sun. That's why we say light is electromagnetic. So light is electromagnetic. It can travel through vacuum, like even solid, liquid, or gas is there, it can travel, but it can also travel through vacuum. Some of the radiation, some of the waves are not able to travel through vacuum. They are known as mechanical, but light can travel through vacuum. That's why we call that as electromagnetic. So first, the properties of the light, you should be able to, this is a learning objective. So you should be able to explain the reflection of the light. What is the meaning of a reflection of the light? Example, this is a mirror, or this is a reflecting surface. The light which strike the surface, that is called incident ray. The light which hit the surface, the light which strike the surface, we call incident. The light which bounce back, the light which changes the direction, that is known as the reflected ray. When we draw the imaginary line, this is in reality, it's not there. When we draw this imaginary line, what we call this imaginary line, this is known as normal. So imaginary line, in reality, it's not there. It's just our imagination. The imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface, that imaginary line is known as the normal. So when the lights, what is the meaning of reflection? The meaning of reflection means when the light strike the surface, the light will change the direction. So as the light changes the direction after striking a surface, we call that as refraction of light. And whenever there is a reflection of the light, when we measure the angle between the incident and the normal, which is called angle of incidence, and we measure the angle between the angle between the normal and the reflected, that is called angle of reflection. And whenever we measure these two angles, they will come out same. Like example, if angle of incidence is 40, angle of reflection will also be 40. If angle of incidence is 60, angle of reflection will also be 60. And this is also known as a law of reflection. According to law of reflection, the angle of the incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. When the light strikes the surface, it changes the direction. and we call that as reflection. So again, and the similar pattern, imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface is called normal. The light which strike the surface is called incident. The light which bounce back is known as reflected. And the angle between the incident and the normal is angle of incidence. And angle between the normal and the reflected is angle of reflection. So always the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. Example, if the angle between the incidence and the surface is example 60 degrees, this angle is 60. How much is this angle? Angle of incidence. What will be the angle of incidence? If the angle between the incident and the surface is 60, what will be the angle between the normal and the incident? This angle. Yeah, that will be 30. Good. How we can work out this? Because the total angle, always remember this total angle will be 90. The normal and the surface is always 90. So out of 90, if this angle is 60, so how much is the remaining angle? That will be 30. Because in some time, they instead of giving you the angle between the normal and the incident, they give you the angle between the normal and angle between the incident and the surface. If this angle is 40, what will be the angle of incidence here? If angle between the incident and the surface is 40, what will be the angle of incidence here? So that is 50. And if angle of incidence is 50, what will be angle of reflection? If angle of incidence is 50, what will be the angle of reflection? The angle of reflection will also be 50, because these two angles will be same. The angle of incidence will always be equal to angle of reflection. You don't bother about this angle. This is not the angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is the angle between the incident and the normal. So if the angle between incident and normal is 50, the angle between the normal and reflected will also be 50. Same way, another example, if this angle is 45 or say 60, if angle between the reflected ray and the surface, this is the surface, is 60, what will be the angle of reflection? If angle between the reflected ray and the surface, that is 60, so this will be 30. And if angle of reflection is 30, what will be angle of incidence? So that will also be 30. So always remember the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. Then these are the definitions you have to learn. The incident ray, the ray which strike the surface is called incident. The ray which bounce back, which changes the direction after striking a surface, is called reflected. Angle of incidence is angle between the incident and the normal, and angle of reflection is angle between the reflected and the normal. And the normal is the imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface. We call that as normal. And according to law of reflection, the angle of incidence will always be equal to angle of reflection. So this example, this angle is 35. What will be the angle of incidence? If the angle between the incident and the surface is 35, what will be the angle of incidence? So it will be 90 minus 35, which is 55. So if angle of incidence is 55, what will be the angle of reflection? So the angle of reflection will be 55 as well. So always the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. This is known as the law of reflection. Then the image formed by a plane mirror. How an image can be formed by a plane mirror? Basically, a plane mirror is having a reflecting surface. One side it is polished and the other side it is unpolished. So example, the image formed by a plane mirror. This is a plane mirror. So when you look into a plane mirror, what you will see? You will see yourself in front of the mirror. But what are the characteristic of the image? Like this is an object, a person is there, this is an object, and what we see in the mirror, that is known as our image. So what are the characteristic of the image? What are the properties of this image which is formed when we see ourselves in front of the mirror? Number one, the characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. Number one, what we see when we look ourselves, we'll see we are of same size. Like if you are, example, 5 feet tall, then you will see in front of the mirror, when you see yourself, the image will also appear as same 5 feet tall. It will appear as the same distance. It is virtual. What is the meaning of virtual? Virtual means cannot be taken on screen. Like if I place a screen, I cannot see this image on the screen. Like example, a person is standing in front of the mirror and he placed the screen back of the mirror. So if you place the screen, there's a screen placed back of the mirror, you don't see anything on the screen. So when you don't see anything on the screen, it means this is just an imaginary image. This is a virtual image, because if the image can be seen or if it is visible on the screen, we call that as a real image. Like projectors, when we use projectors, we can see the image on the screen, so we call that as real image. But if the image cannot be seen on the screen, it's just our imagination which created the image, so we call that as a virtual image. And another point, it is laterally inverted. What is the meaning of laterally inverted? The term laterally inverted means left appear right or the right appear left. Like example, if you are standing in front of the plane mirror, this is your right hand, but when you will see yourself in front of the mirror, the right hand for you, the right hand appear to be left hand for the image, and your left hand appear to be right hand of the image. So if left appear right and right appear left, what we call this image, we call that as laterally inverted. So these are the characteristic of the image which is formed by a plane mirror. It is same size, same distance, it is virtual. Virtual means it cannot be seen or taken on the screen, and it is laterally inverted. But how the image, these are the characteristics, but how the image is formed by the plane mirror. So how we can explain? So how we can explain the idea that the image is formed by the plane mirror? For example, this is a plane mirror. One side of the plane mirror is polished and the other side is a rough. So the side where it's rough, I'm drawing the lines, and this is an object. So this is object. So how the image is formed by the plane mirror? What happened? The two light rays, because image formation is by, whenever we use the formation of the image or explain the formation of the image, we use the light rays. So what happened? There is a light ray which is coming out from the object, strike the mirror, hit the mirror, and when it hit the mirror, it will undergo reflection. And there is a second light ray which is also emitted out from the object or coming out from the object. It will hit the mirror, and as it hit the mirror, it will also bounce back. So the two light rays, like this is ray 1, I will change the color so that it will be easy to understand. The ray 1 is red in color and the ray 2 is blue in color. So the two light rays which are coming out from the object strike the mirror and undergo reflection. So these two light rays which are coming out from the object hit the mirror, a reflecting surface, and bounce back. These two light rays are not intersecting, because whenever the light rays intersect, the light rays meet, that is the position where the image is formed. So when these two light rays coming out from the object hit the mirror and bounce back, it undergo reflection, but the distance between the two light rays is continue to increase. So what happened when we are looking at, when we are looking in the mirror, this is our eye. So when we look into the mirror, so our brain, imagine our brain what it do when these two light rays are coming out from the object, strike the mirror and enter our eye. So what our brain create, our brain try to create an image. So how our brain try to create an image? So our brain will produce these two light rays backward. So from where they're coming out, our brain try to create, so our brain try to create them backward, produce them backward. So when our brain create these two light rays, the position where these two light rays will meet or position where these two light rays will intersect, what we will see? We will see the image. So this is how we see the image, or this is how our imagination, this is in reality, it's not there. In reality, nothing is there back of the mirror. It is just our imagination which create this image, and that's why this image is known as virtual image, because it is imagination, it is not real. Our brain only create this image. Is it clear that how the image is formed by the mirror, plane mirror? Any doubt till this point? So because it is our imagination, that's why we call that as imaginary image or virtual image. So it is same size, same distance, it is virtual and it cannot be taken on screen, and it is laterally inverted. The term laterally inverted means left appear right and the right appear left. So this is known as the image formed by the plane mirror. Then the next topic is about refraction. What is the concept of refraction? Refraction means property of the wave to change the speed when it travels from one medium to another. We call that as refraction. So to understand the change in speed, you should know that speed of light, the speed of the light in air or vacuum, that is 300 million meter per second, or 3 exponent 8 meter per second, or we can say this value you have to learn, or it can be 3 exponent 5 kilometer per second. So 3 exponent 5 kilometer per second. So these are the values of the speed of light which you should learn. And light travels faster in air and vacuum compared to that in solid or liquid. So the term refraction means the property of a wave to change the speed, to bend when it travels from one medium to another. We call that as refraction. Example, this is a glass block. Here you can see a glass block. So the light which strike the glass block, that is called incident. Then imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface, that is known as normal. So this is imaginary, in reality it's not there. So imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface, what we call this imaginary line, we call that as normal. Then what we'll observe the light will slow down. Here it is moving fast because it was moving in air. This light was moving faster, and the light which moved from air to glass, that slow down. And when the light slow down, what we observe it bend towards the normal. And when it move from glass block to air, again that is called the emergent ray, and then again it become fast. So when the light become fast, it will bend away from the normal. So remember this, when the light will slow down, it will bend towards the normal. And when the light will move faster or speed up, it will bend away from the normal. So as you can see, when the light was traveling here, this is the direction in which the light was traveling. So this is the direction in which the light was traveling. So if I draw in this manner, it means it is bent away, like away from the normal. So that's why what we did, we draw other way around, which shows that it slowed down or it bent towards the normal. And same thing, when the light was moving in glass, it should go straight. But because the speed changes, we have to check what happened to speed. If the speed decreases, it will further bend towards the normal. But because the speed increase, it will bend away from the normal. So this property of a light to change the speed and bend towards and away from the normal, this property is known as refraction. Mainly, a refraction is related to property of a light to change its speed. And the angle between the incident and the normal is called angle of incident, and the angle between the incident and the refracted is known as angle of refraction. And in this case, whenever a refraction occurs, the angle of incidence will not be equal to angle of refraction. That because in this only happen in reflection, but in refraction the angle of incidence does not matches with angle of refraction. So observation, like we will discuss why, like example, if you fill a glass with water and put a straw, you will see that the straw appear to bend. Or if you place a ruler inside a bucket, you will see that the ruler appear to be bent. So why this appear to be bent? that is mainly due to refraction. I will explain how it happened or why it appeared. Example, this is a container which is filled with water, and you place a ruler. So we place a ruler here. Now what happened? Because using a light rays we can explain the idea. So light rays which are from the base of the ruler, when it moves from water to air, it will bend away from the normal. Same thing from base, it will bend away from the normal. So the two light rays will not meet, the two light rays will not intersect. So when we are looking into these two light rays, again our brain will create an imagination. It's an optical illusion or imagination. So what happened? Our brain produced these light rays backward. So as our brain produced these two light rays backward, so this is the first one and this is second. So our brain produce these two light rays backward, and when it produces them backward, they will intersect at a point. So as they will intersect at this point, what it appear? It appear that this object is bent, because now the base of the ruler or the base of the scale appear to be in this manner. And due to this, the object appear to bend, and we call that as refraction. So property of the light to changes the speed when travel from one medium to another, we simply call that as refraction. So you can understand from this like example, if there is a sand and a car is moving, so when the car is moving on the track, it is moving faster. But as a result, when the car enters the sand, it will slow down. And as it slow down, it bend towards the normal. And then when again it move on the track, the speed will increase. So same thing happen for the light, that when the light is traveling in air, when the light is traveling in air, it is moving faster. When it travel in a glass or a water, it slow down, and then again travel in air, it will become fast. So here, this point, the light is traveling fast, then it will slow down, and then again it will be fast again. Is it clear the concept of refraction, the property of a light to changes the speed when travel from one medium to another? So why the object appear to bend when you're looking, why the object appear to bend when you're looking them into the water? Like example, this is a container which is filled with water, and there's a ruler or the scale. So this is a scale or ruler. What happened? The two light rays which are coming out from the base. So when moving from liquid to air, it will speed up. So when it speed up, it will bend away. because if there's no change in speed, it will pass straight. If it slow down, it will bend towards. If it speed up, it will bend away. And same thing happen. The other light ray, when it passes from liquid to air, it will also bend away from the normal. So the two light rays, when they're coming from the base, they're bending away from the normal. Now, when we look from the top, this is our eye. So when we look from the top, we produce, our brain sense that the light is coming straight, so our brain produce light rays backward. So when our brain produce the two light rays backward, so this is a position where the two light rays meet or intersect. So the point where the two light rays meet or intersect, now what we will see that part as a base. So this part will be the base, and when we look this part as a base, so what it appear? It appear that the object is smaller or the object bent, because what we see, the top part we are able to see this, and the bottom we are only able to see this part. That's why we say the object appear to bend when it is under water, but in reality it does not bend. It is just in reality it does not bend, but it is just our illusion. Our brain sense that the light is coming straight from the object, so when brain create an image, it is virtual. Same way, when you are looking at the swimming pool, the swimming pools appear to be shallow. In reality they are deep, but they appear to be shallow. That's the same reason when you jump inside the pool, it appears to be much deeper as compared to when you look from the top. So what is the reason for that? So the light rays from the base of the pool, when they move from water to air, it bend away from the normal, and same thing, it bend away from the normal. So when we are looking at these two light rays outside the pool, from the top of the pool, so our brain sense that the light is coming straight from the object. So when our brain create the position by producing the two light rays backward, so as a result, this will be this is the original base. Originally the base is here, but this is apparent base or virtual base. Like in reality it's not there, but it created an image. So what it appeared? It appeared that this swimming pool base is closer to the surface, or it appeared to be shallow. This is what we see, but in reality it is much deeper. So again, that is due to refraction of the light. Is it clear? Any doubt till this point? So refraction through a glass block, like what happened as a refraction occurred through a glass block. When the light strike the surface, it bounces back, it changes the direction. Moving from air to glass, it will slow down, bend towards the normal, and moving from glass to air, it will bend away from the normal. But if the light is passing along the normal, like exactly through the direction of the normal, so the light won't change the direction. It will only change the speed. The speed will change, but the direction will not change. Like here, the light is traveling fast, then it slow down, and then again it travel fast. Here also, the light is traveling fast, then the light will slow down, and again it will be fast. But moving from air to glass, it will bend towards moving from glass to air, bend away. But in the second example, because it is passing along the normal, so when it is passing along the normal, it won't change the direction. It will only change the speed. So it depends on the light. If it is passing along the normal, only there will be a change in speed. That also called refraction. But if it is not passing along the normal, making certain angle with a normal, then it will change the speed as well as direction. So when the light travel from optically less dense means, like example, air or low density medium to high density medium, it will bend towards the normal and the speed decreases. And when the light is traveling from optically dense medium to less dense medium, the speed of the light will increase. And the angle between the refracted and the normal is known as angle of refraction. So now different examples of refraction, different diagrams to show how the refraction occur.